to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. That's not what, it's no time. So, Brian Shaw was recently on Paul George's podcast. Okay. He was on Paul George's podcast and he was talking about Sprewell versus P.J. Carlesimo. Okay. No, Brian Shaw was there for a few months with the Golden State Warriors early in the 1997-98 season. No, he had been traded from Orlando to Golden State. Okay. And so he was telling what happened, what really happened, because Brian Shaw was there. First thing was, it actually happened in practice. The choke actually happened in practice. And the Warriors, as coaches and players, got together and said, let's keep this quiet. Let's keep this in-house. And Brian Shaw also said that there was a gag order from law enforcement not to speak on it. Okay. So initially, this wasn't supposed to get out. Okay. This is supposed to stay in practice. But as I am going to explain later, it got out. Suspicions began to arise. So Brian Shaw was talking about it, and he said that PJ addressed everyone as motherfucker, this, and MF that. And Shaw said that PJ was coach of Portland, then got dismissed in Portland, and then got hired by Golden State. And the ironic thing about that is, if you watch some of my earlier videos, is that P.J. Carlesimo replaced Rick Adelman in Portland in 1994. And then he replaced Adelman again when he was fired in 1997. Okay. So it's just kind of weird that he replaced Rick Adelman both times. Okay. Go figure. But Shaw said that PJ tried to bring that college crap to the NBA, which didn't work. When you're addressing professional players as MF this, MF that. And he took issue with Latrell Sprewell. P.J. Carlesimo did. He took issue with Latrell Sprewell's braids. Shaw said Latrell Sprewell didn't obey the dress code. He wore what he wanted. That bugged P.J. Carlesimo. And so Sprewell said, I talked to my agent. Okay. You can fine me $500 if I don't adhere to the dress code. We have 41 away games. Take it out of my check and leave me the F alone. And then Sprewell put back on his headphones. And Brian Shaw also said that Latrell Sprewell also listened to Wu-Tang as well. He listened to Wu-Tang a lot. Okay. And so it was one day in practice. Bilbo Coles, Muggsy Bogues, who had just been traded there, and Spree were like, it was like a three-man shooting drill, okay? And Brian Shaw said PJ PJ said to Sprewell, if that's all you're going to give me, get the F out of my gym. Okay. And then Latrell Sprewell didn't say nothing. And then P.J. Carlesimo walked away. Okay. Then PJ what is it? Okay. So PJ first said to Sprewell, if that's all you're gonna give me, get the F out. Okay. Then PJ walked away. Okay. Spree didn't say hey nothing. Then PJ came back, said the same thing. Then Spree said, if you say one more thing to me, I'm gonna F you up. Okay. PJ comes back, says something again. And PJ and unaware to PJ, Sprewell drops the ball. This is in Brian Shaw's words, okay? This is in Brian Shaw's words. Sprewell drops the ball, walks over, and the players saw this happening, okay? Okay, the players saw this happening. So Brian Shaw recalls how the players reacted, okay? Brian Shaw said when Sprewell went up to P.J. Carlesimo and choked P.J., Brian Shaw remembers the players' reaction. And Brian Shaw said because of the way P.J. had talked to the players just sat there and went like the players really didn't care, okay? And these are Brian Shaw's exact words. He said, because of the way PJ had talked to the players, all the players stood back and went like, so what? We don't care. And so it was the assistant coaches who had to run over and pull Latrell Sprewell off. So the assistant coaches were trying to get Spree off PJ. He was kicking the assistant coaches. The assistant coaches eventually got Spree off of PJ. And so the security came and kicked out Latrell Sprewell. They met as a team. The Golden State Warriors did. Okay. The Golden State Warriors met as a team. PJ, the players, Gary St. Jean, the GM, to determine what punishment is appropriate for Spree. Okay. And so then they said 10 games, a 10 game suspension, anger management issues, okay? And go to classes for anger management. And that was going to cost Latrell Sprewell $1 million in salary. And so they eventually suspended him for 68 games, which was the rest of the season. Okay. And so I mentioned at the beginning that the Golden State Warriors wanted to keep it in-house. Okay. Want to keep it in-house. And the Golden State Warriors had a gag order not to discuss what happened. Okay. So Brian Shaw gets home from practice. Okay. Brian Shaw gets home from practice. He turns on the TV. And the TV is showing like fingernail marks in PJ's neck. Okay. Showing fingernail marks on PJ's neck. And one of the reporters, um, one of the reporters made a joke, said, "Did you cut yourself shaving today?" And PJ answered by saying, "No comment." Okay. And so I know all the reporters saw that big red mark PJ had on his neck. And so, like I said, that aroused a suspicion right there. And the Golden State Warriors eventually had to say there was a incident that took place at practice. And Sprewell actually came back twice. First time he choked PJ, then he came back twice. Yeah, so which, how did he come back twice? Because he got kicked out by security. Oh well, but yeah, the Warriors got to say what happened in their own words, but the players couldn't say nothing. Okay. And so, as a result, Latrell Sprewell lost endorsements. He had an endorsement deal with Converse, lost that. And then all the other major endorsers that he had, they dropped him too. So Shaw, in closing, says David Vaughn, Felton Spencer, Robert Horry, Dwayne Farrell, Bilbo Coles, Joe Smith, when Latrell Sprewell had a press conference to apologize for what he did. And Brian Shaw said they don't condone what he did. They don't condone what what Sprewell did. But they were just there to support Latrell Sprewell, okay? So the players were standing behind Latrell Sprewell, okay? And so Brian Shaw recalls what happened in the aftermath of that press conference. Brian Shaw said 2 weeks later, Brian Shaw's in his hotel room and he gets a knock on the door from PJ. And PJ says, "You've been traded. You and Joe Smith have been traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Jim Jackson and Clarence Weatherspoon." Okay. And that happened 2 weeks after the Latrell Sprewell press conference. And Dickie Simpkins had got cut by the Golden State Warriors, okay? And so Brian Shaw recalls how he, Joe Smith, were at the Philadelphia airport, okay? And they ran into Dickie Simpkins. And And Brian Shaw recalls saying, "They traded you too?" And then Dickie Simpkins said, "Nah, man, I got a cut." Okay. So I think that choke resulted out of frustration, losing, and the way PJ talked to everybody on that roster. Okay. And it's kind of ironic because Dickie Simpkins gets cut. Okay. He gets cut. And then he ends up re-signing with the Bulls. And then he immediately signs up with the Bulls, who he had previously played for. Since 1995. Okay. So he gets cut by the Warriors, signs with the Bulls, wins another championship. Go figure, okay? So getting cut may have been the best thing to happen for Dickie Simpkins, okay? All right, that's it. That's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. God bless you all. I'm out of here. See y'all on the next one. Peace.